Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I've been talking to myself. But now that we have me unmuted, I would like to welcome you to the January 2019 Tabs3 Virtual User Group meeting from Attorney Computer Systems. How do we know that it's January? Well, I don't know where you guys are, but we're covered in snow here in Dundee, Michigan, and it is, what's the wind chill out there, negative 19?
Negative 21.
Negative 21. Thank you, Patty. So here we are, huddled together in the luxurious Attorney Computer Systems World Headquarters, ready to talk about tabs, where today we are talking about moving a matter. What if you need to move a matter? How do you do that? What's the best way to do it? What if you sent bills? What if you've got all this stuff out there? Mary Jo will take care of you and tell you how to do that. And I'm going to explain that mysterious database folder that maybe you noticed and maybe you didn't if you updated to version 19, and tell you why it's there and tell you what benefit it gives you. And so now, without any further ado, I will press a couple of magic buttons, and Mary Jo will talk to us about moving matters.
Okay, so sometimes we have a need to transfer information from one matter to another. A lot of times what we can do, if we haven't created the new matter, is we can renumber a current matter, and we can just move everything that's already on that matter into the new number that we want. And we talked about that in a previous webinar. But what I want to talk about today is, I have matter, client number 123 matter 001, and I want to move all the information that's on matter 001 to matter 005 or something like that, that's already existing and has its own information in it. So I want to move everything, and maybe we've got some time, or we've got some notes or different information or whatever it is, and we want to move that into a new matter number. And we've already created the new matter number. Can't renumber into an existing number. So then we have to start moving things. So we're going to go into client information, and we're just going to look here. Now I'm in sample data, so I have absolutely no idea what we have in here. But let's say that I have, I'm going to open this a little bit bigger, bring this down. So let's say that I have, I don't know, let's do Jim Taylor. I don't know what information is out here for Jim, but if we wanted to take his matter 25 and I wanted to combine that with matter 36, I want to get rid of this and I want to move it over, or maybe I just want to take some of the information from 25 to 36. We can do that. So what we're going to do is talk about transfer transactions. So when we go into that, we have ways of moving this information over, any transaction data that we have out there to this new matter. So let me get out of here, and we are going to go out to our, and I don't have it open, so we're going to search for transfer transactions right here. Transfer transactions gives us the ability to go from one matter to another. And we can transfer things like fees, costs, payments, and we can also do this AR ledger and client funds. Now, normally, if we have things out here, some WIP fees or some WIP costs or some payments out there that we want to move, that's what we would use. And we've used that quite frequently, and I know that we've used transfer transactions to talk about that in previous webinars as well. But today, I want to talk about the AR ledger and client funds. So normally when I talk about transfer transactions, I always caution, don't do this, don't check this box. This is not what you want to do. And it normally is not. Normally we are just moving fees, costs, or payments. When we move AR ledger and client funds, we are moving all of the history for a client as well. So, or a matter, I should say. So if I just wanted to move one fee or two fees or a couple of costs and things like that, that's fine. We just pick that and we check it and we move it. But when I want to get rid of a client matter, I have too many, I've created the new one, it's too late, I can't renumber because I've already got the new number and we've already started entering stuff on it. I can use the AR ledger and client funds checkbox to move that information. That's when this is helpful and when this box is necessary. So let's say that I wanted to combine this, and Paul, I'm going to ask you, do you use Jim Taylor matter 25 for anything? Because this is Paul's demo data and I don't want to mess it up at all. So we're going to take Jim Taylor number 25 And we're going to move all of that information to Jim Taylor number 30. What did I say? 25 to 35. There we go. We'll move 25 to 35. So what I'm doing here is I want to move any outstanding fees, there aren't any outstanding costs, which there are, because you can see that's lighting up. And if I did my reference, there's one cost out there. I want to do any payments, there aren't any because it's grayed out. And then I'm going to move any AR ledger, and of course there aren't any on that one. So let me try another one. I don't know if we've got a ledger history here. Let me go out and see if I've got some AR out there on something. So let me get back here. Sorry about that. We should have picked a client ahead of time. I didn't look at it. Let me just go into Client Manager real quick, and we will pick one that has some history. Come on. There we go. All right, so let me see if I've got one of those Jim Taylors that actually has an AR balance on it. And we're just going to pick this one, and we'll do a next and see what we've got. And I don't know, Jim Taylor's probably one that we just created to play with, so of course there isn't. Let me try Kelly White. And she is up. Nope, she's not on there. Let's go up here. There she is. Let's try Kelly White. There we go. So here, Kelly White's 00 matter has an AR balance, and we've got some WIP fees on there. So I want to move all of this information over to that. So I'm going to go back here. We're going to pick Kelly White. We'll pick her 00 matter, and we'll move that into one of her other matters. So let's just say we want to combine her with the 02 matter. Okay. So now we've got some fee WIP. If we look out here and do our reference, we can see there's fee WIP, so I want to move that. No costs, no payments, but we do have an AR ledger and client funds history. So that's anything that's been archived and billed, any client funds that we might have out there, all of that's going to now move over into her new matter. I'm going to say okay, and we're going to go ahead and combine it. And it's telling me everything that it moved. It moved 4 fee transactions, and it moved my accounts receivable, and it's complete. So now if I look at Kelly White on her 00 matter and I refresh this, there is no AR balance anymore. There is no fee WIP. If I look at the ledger, there's no ledger anymore because that whole ledger has been moved, nothing printed, to the other matter. Now at that point, what I'm going to want to do is go back into Kelly White and on her 00 matter, and I'm just going to look through to make sure I don't have any client notes, because client notes aren't going to transfer with that AR ledger balance, and I would copy those client notes into the new matter. I would look at any custom fields that might be specific to the 00 matter. If I need those over into the other matter, I would move those. If there are any billing notes over here, I would take those. And I would probably check my statement notes, just make sure of all of these different things and make sure I have everything off of this matter that I want to go to the new matter. Now, this is how we're moving a tabs matter. If you're using Practice Master, you would also need to go to Practice Master and make sure we don't have any journal notes, any calendar entries, anything like that. You'd have to move that separate over there individually. So at this point, we've moved all of our tabs information. But if you're integrating with Practice Master, there's another step to go over there to go ahead and move that information as well. So it is a multi-step process to move everything from one matter to another and make sure we get all the information that we want off of Kelly White, in this instance for this matter. And then once we are sure that we have everything off of the client in Tabs and Practice Master, we can then go ahead and delete the Kelly White matter for the 00 because we've moved everything out and combined it with the number that we did want. Now I combined 2 within the same client. You might have created a matter under, in my instance, Kelly White. Let's say this was ABC Insurance, and it was supposed to be under something else. You can renumber that to another client number as well. And that happens probably more frequently where you've created a matter under the wrong client and you want to move the whole matter to a new client ID. That's fine, and you've already created the client ID. In that instance, we need to go through this transfer transaction process. Now, the best practice is to not create that new number first and to then go ahead and just renumber this existing client to the new number that you want it to be. But there are multiple times, especially on larger firms, where somebody else has already created the number. You've got a lot of attorneys that have already put time in. You haven't realized it until a lot later, and now you've got 2 matters out there and you don't want to build the 2 together. So this would then help you move those and combine them safely. Paul?
Very cool. I'll admit, I did not know that you could use this to combine two matters and their ledger information. That's very cool. How long has it been like that?
Always.
Always.
As long as I know, but I don't know, but yeah.
Well, that's why when you're on vacation or on site and somebody calls with a complex tabs question, my answer is, we better wait till Mary Jo gets there. Okay, I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about something that people don't really go into too much. I'm going to go ahead and go into the STI folder. Ours is called STI NFR. This is our demo system. And I'm going to talk about this folder right here. If you're one of those people who installs an update and then looks around, you might have noticed this. If not, you probably didn't. But this folder did not exist before version 19. All the data files, all of them, lived in this main folder. Now, there's still some data files here. The DAT files are data files, and the IDX files are index files. Those two together make up the entire data set. You'll find a very small number of DAT and IDX files still in here, but they're for some non-critical information. All the critical stuff has been moved into this database folder. Now, I'm telling you this for several reasons. One, I want you to understand that if you have excluded certain folders and you're only backing up certain folders, you want to make sure that you're backing up this folder. So if you've set your backup to not just back up the entire STI folder or Tabs3 folder, whatever you call it, and everything underneath, then now we've got this new folder that contains all your data. And if you need to tell your backup software that you want to back that up, then you definitely want to do that, because if it's not backing it up, it's missing virtually everything that it should be backing up. And that's one reason for telling you. Another reason is that if you have the ODBC drivers and you're using those ODBC drivers for external reporting, to pull data into Excel, to do all sorts of things that you can do with ODBC drivers, unless you're in Platinum SQL, they have a file, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but they have a file that contains pointers to all the data files in your system. And when you installed version 19, it might have warned you somewhere in the instructions, but you're going to need to redo the pathing in that file. It is now no longer pointing to the right location. So it's quite common for people to install the version 19 update themselves, and perhaps these are people that have had us write a custom report for them, and we had that custom report using the ODBC drivers, and now that custom report doesn't work because it doesn't know where to look for those files. It's very easy to fix. Frankly, if you know what you're doing, if you run reinitialize initialize Tabs3 data, and ODBC, initialize trust ODBC, initialize AP ODBC, the way you originally created that file, it'll recreate it with the right pathing. Most often people don't know how to do that, and they simply call us and we take care of it for them. Point is, if you've installed version 18, it may not any longer know how to get 19. Thank you, Mary Jo. If you've installed version 19, it may no longer know how to get to your data if it was using the ODBC drivers to get there before. The most important reason to tell you about this is because if you have Platinum, then you can, now that this file has been, this folder has been created and all the data has been put in there, you can lock this up with security. In other words, you can use Windows Security to secure this folder so that nobody can get to it. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can they use the software if they can't get to it? Let me explain. When you're using the Platinum software, it uses something called the server software for your workstation to communicate with the server. And so this is kind of a bird's eye view of what's happening when you do something in Platinum versus standard multi-user or single user. When you say, hey, I need some report, or I need these records for some reason, In the multi-user software, it's going out to those, your user, your computer is going out to that file and getting those records. It needs to have permission. In the Platinum version, whether it's regular old Platinum or Platinum SQL, what's happening is your computer is telling the server software, hey, I need this stuff. And then the server software is going to get it for you and it's sending it back to you. You are not accessing that data file directly. Your workstation, your user on the computer is not accessing that file directly. Something called the PM server, the STI server software is making that data access for you. What that means then is that your IT people can lock this folder down so people don't accidentally or deliberately get into it and do the wrong thing, like delete all your data files or delete just one or any number of things that could go wrong with people getting into these folders. If you take their rights away to this folder entirely, they won't even see it. And yet, since you're using Practice Masters or Tabs or AP or GL or Trust in a Platinum mode, their computer, their software running on their computer can still get to the data. So, to summarize, 3 things going on here. First off, what's going on actually is they have taken all the important data files and put them in this database folder. That affects you in 3 ways. It affects you because this is where everything is now, and so you need to know that. You may need to change backup. You may need to change antivirus exclusions, anything where you need to specifically point to the folder where the data is, you need to know that. Second, it's going to affect your ODBC connections if you're in a non-Platinum SQL mode, because Platinum SQL does something different. And you're going to need to address that. You're going to need to change the .db file that contains the location to these folders, these files, so that it now knows to look in this folder for them. And most importantly, this gives you the freedom to lock this folder down in Windows, lock it down on your file server so that your users cannot get into it, cannot even see it. And as long as you've got Platinum, you wouldn't do this with multi-user, but as long as you've got Platinum, you can lock it down in that way. They can't see it, they can't do anything to it, and yet they can still operate the software. And that's all there is to it. So next month, we're going to talk about checking for updates. A long time ago, years ago, STI started delivering updates via the internet. And we still have a lot of people that don't understand that process at all. So Mary Jo is going to take that topic and explain to us how check for updates works. And I'm going to talk about something that, well, we debated about whether we even wanted to talk about it, deleting a range of clients, how to do it and when to do it, and of course, when not to do it. One of those things that you should probably lock down so no users have access to. And of course, it wouldn't be the same if I didn't take you out to our website and show you how to get to all this content so you can see it later. If you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, notice the emphasis that I give to that last S in the word systems right there. Without it, you won't get to the right place. If you then either hover over or click on the word videos in the menu, you will end up, if you click on it, you'll end up on a page. If you hover, you'll see this drop down. But if you click on it, you get to this page that shows you all of our video titles. Now, you understand probably that we have virtual user group meetings because you're at one of them right now. So we have 4 live events each month, 3 of them being virtual user group meetings. We have a virtual user group meeting for Tabs and one for Practice Master and one for World Docs. I also give a monthly seminar that we call the Coffee Pot. In that webinar, we talk about other things, other products from other companies that add value to Tabs or Practice Master or World Docs. I'll bring somebody in from one of those companies and we'll talk about their product. We'll ask them questions, we'll find out how it's priced, we'll find out how it works and what sort of value it adds. We also have 2 pre-recorded. We have the eBytes video series that Mary Jo records every month, 3 of them, 1 for each of the products, Tabs, Practice Master, and World Docs. These are little 2 or 3 minute videos where we take something really cool that we think everybody should know and that we can explain very quickly, and Mary Jo records an eByte. For longer things that might take a little bit longer to explain, we have the Paul and Mary Jo show, where I or Mary Jo will take a broader topic and spend 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. We record one of these each month. If you click on any of the live events or any of the pre-recorded, but I'm going to take you to a live one so you can see the one extra thing that's there. If it's a live event, first off, at the very top, you'll see our description, our title and our description of what that is. Then you will see, if it's something that's live, you'll see registration information for the next one. This is still this one here. We will cover exactly what we're going to talk about, and then the form is now right on the page. So there is no more clicking a link to go register. You just fill out this form, click the register button, and you're done. As you scroll down, you will always find recorded versions of everything we've done before. So here's the December Tabs3 virtual user group meeting, and here's the November Tabs3 virtual user group meeting, and these go on for pages and pages. So you can either browse through them or you can search for specifically what you're looking for. If we go back up to the top of the page, we do have a search bar right here, or a search button that will open up this search bar where we can type just about anything we might be looking for. Maybe we want to know about emailing statements. We can type email and hit enter, and we'll go straight to it. So browse through them, go straight to the one that you want for the bit of information you want, whatever it is. Use them, though, because they're available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and they are absolutely free, and there are over 800 of them on the website waiting for you to find them. That's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the day, rest of the month, and we will see you in February. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.